Hello and welcome back to Pokemon Colosseum. At the end of the last episode, we finished exploring the Shadow Lab, ending with a challenge with the person running it, Cypher Admin Ein, who is responsible ultimately for creating the Shadow Pokemon that we have seen in this game. We ended things on a little bit of a depressing note. We actually had an opportunity to capture the recent Shadow Pokemon Raikou and we failed. We also got this email from Nett letting us know that he is looking for some data on Shadow Pokemon, which we actually obtained upon defeating Ein. We found that on his desk in the lab. And if we go through our list here, as you can see, we did indeed fail to capture Shadow Raikou. Very much a disappointment. Again, one of the coolest Shadow Pokemon you can get in the game. I personally am not using it on my team. But it is a little bit disappointing that I did fail it. Came pretty close, but unfortunately with enough Shadow Rushes, it did take recoil damage, taking itself out. So in this episode, I initially had planned on continuing with the main story, but I think after that failure, I think it's time to do some more training because apparently we need to do it. So it is time to once again set out for Mount Battle. We have some more challenges to take on in order to get strong enough to finish out this adventure. Running too much before battle wasn't a good idea. And we talked to this guy again. He's gonna again mention the Shadow Lab. We've already been there, so we obviously know what that's all about and what's going on over there. But it is now time to actually take on the next two areas in Mount Battle. So this time around, I'm hoping I can actually get close to being able to afford TM13. Again, that is Ice Beam. That is actually a TM I am planning on teaching Marsha. We have, again, some more interesting items. I don't think it's really going to be worth saving up for those. Those cost quite a bit of points, and I don't see myself taking on enough challenges to be able to afford that. But it is now time to continue on with our next two challenges here at Mount Battle. We have everybody ready to go. We have obviously leveled up quite a bit. The last time we were here, we did a good amount of that, as well as our time in the Shadow Lab. We faced some pretty tough trainers, and I think we are ready to take on the next two areas here. So I have a few items, probably not going to need to use them. And again, you do get healed between each battle in this place, but we are now going to pick up where we left off at the end of Area 5. As you can see here, once you have left Mount Battle, you can still choose to continue where you left off. Again, just keep in mind, you will not earn the Earth Ribbon if you are planning on finishing the entire challenge all the way through the end of Area 10. Looks like Abra's going to do its thing. Abra's going to do its thing and teleport us back to where we left off. And here we are at Area 6. This is our first trainer. Oh, are you a new student? Welcome to Area 6. Let's begin our battle lesson. So like before, I am going to go ahead and speed up all these battles until we come across the area leader. So, again, I think most of these battles are pretty redundant and kind of unnecessary to show, and we've seen much of this place already. I've already completed the first half, so let's speed things along here. Now, I do want to talk about, again, some more games that I have been playing, and also some games I'm kind of excited for that are going to be coming out fairly soon. And I think I'm going to start by talking about this new Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. This is obviously where all the hype is right now in the gaming universe, and I thought I'd share a few opinions and thoughts on the game as well. Me, personally, I'm actually a very huge fan of the, of course, Ocarina of Time game. I grew up with that game as well as Majora's Mask. I had an N64. I was a Nintendo kid for the most part growing up when I was younger. So this remake is a huge deal to me, but I have a few kind of opinions, I guess, on the game. I think it's pretty interesting that they decided to go ahead and do a remake of it. I know they are planning on doing a movie as well, and that's going to be released, I believe, next year, sometime early next year. So it's kind of interesting how they decided to, finally do a remake of Ocarina of Time. Now, I will say I am excited for it. I am kind of interested to see what they're going to do with it, and I think it's interesting because it's a little bit unexpected knowing that we did get a remake on the 3DS, and I think that game looked absolutely outstanding. I played it, of course, and I actually personally feel that that game, in my opinion, almost is the better version of Ocarina of Time. And I think that's actually really hard to say because I love the original version and I can play it all day long. I've gotten really addicted and kind of hooked on the Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask randomizer, the combined randomizer. I've been playing the hell out of that recently. And it's safe to say that I have, I'm pretty obsessed with that game as well as Majora's Mask. And probably two of my all-time favorite 3D games in the series. I think I've just the fact that I've played those games so many times, Ocarina and Majora, that I just kind of have a little bit of an obsession with them. But I think that the new remake is going to be kind of interesting to see. I think that many people are expecting a completely redone game, where I think that would probably be the wisest decision, because I think what we got on the 3DS was good and it looked amazing and played amazing. But I think, yeah, having a remake that actually completely redoes everything, maybe even includes several different new features as well, would be an awesome idea. I think a lot of people have speculated that they may actually include the Light Temple. Now, the Light Temple was actually something that was cut out of the original game because I think they just kind of ran out of time. I can't remember exactly what all the details are surrounding it, but there was actually going to be an additional temple, a sixth temple called the Light Temple in Ocarina of Time. So obviously there's a total of 6 sages, but you only take on 5 temples in the original version. You have the Forest Temple, the Fire Temple, Water Temple, Shadow Temple, and the Spirit Temple. Apollo was trying to learn Psy up there. I think that's a kind of a pointless move. I have no use for it on Apollo, so I chose not to learn it there. Yeah, I think having the Light Temple would be interesting. They did include it in Twilight Princess, and I think it was done really well in that game. But I think having it in the remake would be a pretty fascinating idea and pretty interesting for the most part. So I'm kind of interested to see kind of what changes they do make in the game. And I do expect there to be quite a bit of them. I think they're going to do a lot with the game that people are probably not expecting. What we got based off the trailer, the little sneak peek in the Nintendo Direct, I think was awesome. It looks amazing. Some people have a problem with the fact that Link has the Triforce on his hand right away. He's waking up in Kokiri Forest and he already has like the Triforce on his hand. So I think there's a lot of mixed reception for the trailer itself, or what we got at least from the Direct. But overall, I do have high hopes for it. I think that with this game being so huge, they can't really screw it up. They are probably going to put everything they can into this game, or probably did put everything they can into this game. So I'm expecting pretty good stuff from it. In the movie, now I'm kind of indifferent when it comes to films that are based on Nintendo games or video games in general. I did not actually watch the Super Mario Galaxy movies, or any of the Mario movies. I did not, just not something I really am into. Like the Detective Pikachu, I never watched that one either. I'm not really a fan of movies that are based off of video games. I think it's kind of cheap and it's not really something I'm just interested in general. I think just keep it in the game. Have Pokemon and Pikachu just be, a video game. Don't have it adapted to a film. That's just kind of my personal opinion. Maybe others disagree with that. So the Ocarina of Time film, or the Zelda film that we're going to be getting next year that's maybe based off of Ocarina of Time, I'm kind of indifferent with it. I don't really care either way how that ends up. I'm kind of more just interested in the actual remakes of the actual game. So for me, that's not really a huge deal, but I'm very excited and interested to see what they do with this remake on the Switch too. So exciting stuff. But yeah, I have a lot of ideas in my mind of what they could do, again, like including the Light Temple. I think introducing maybe some new NPCs or characters would be kind of a fun thing to kind of play around with. Having new dungeons, new dungeon items. I mean, they can do all kinds of stuff with it. And a lot of people have speculated that, they're going to have maybe similar dungeons, but they're going to be completely different. Or maybe some areas in the game that are going to be, obviously based off the original game, but are going to be completely redesigned and look completely different. So lots of stuff they can do with it. Hopefully they don't screw it up. I think with this game being such a big game, or based off of, you know, such a big game and a big franchise, I think we're going to get some pretty good stuff with it. So very excited for that. And I would assume that they would do something like this with Majora's Mask later down the line as well. And if so, I'm very excited for that as well, because that is another game I absolutely adore. Obviously, I've talked about it enough. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. But I'm overall pretty optimistic for the most part, but we'll kind of see what we get, you know, kind of, you know, once I guess it is getting released this year, which sounds pretty fast, but we'll kind of see how it looks and how it plays and everything like that once it releases. So very exciting stuff. But I have been playing the crap out of the Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask combo randomizer. I think it's a very addicting thing to play, and very fun as well. So but now that we have finished the 9th trainer fight, it is time to advance. Hi, I'm Loco. You must be the high energy trainer I keep hearing about. So, how about showing me that high energy of yours? It is now time to face off with the 6th area leader, Loco. She is going to start off with a Wigglytuff and a Azumarill. We're going to go ahead and set out Sage and Scorch and light this party up. Get things started here. As you can see, Loco actually does not specialize in any specific type. She is going to have a wide variety of different Pokemon types within her team. However, as you can see, the level spike is increasing a little bit more. I think the last area leader we took on was around like level 40, level 38, something like that. So we have some tougher area leaders coming up here, but she still is not too challenging. Again, we have leveled up, of course, since we have been here last, and obviously, like I said, going through the Shadow Lab allowed us to do even more of that. So mainly what we want to do is just kind of survive most of these hits and see what we can do. Looks like Scorch is pretty much at a disadvantage here with her Azumarill. It looks like she is going to do a little bit more of a defensive strategy here. We just want to, again, just kind of focus on powering up our Pokemon and taking matters into our own hands and seeing what we can do here. I'm going to actually start off by using Sunny Day with Scorch. I don't think it's going to last long enough to be able to really utilize that, but I was hoping Scorch would have hung on a little bit longer, but that's fine. We'll go and throw up a Light Screen to kind of minimize any special attacks. Kind of like this Water Pulse. And unfortunately, Scorch goes down already. We're going to go ahead and send out Flashlight next to take care of that Azumarill. And it looks like she is actually using a very specific strategy here where essentially if you use Defense Curl and then roll out, it will maximize the power of it. So it looks like that's essentially the main... So that is actually going to be the main strategy that Loco is going to be using in this fight. Go ahead and kick things off here with Flashlight using Thunderbolt. We'll go ahead and have Flashlight use Thunderbolt to take care of that Azumarill. Get it out of here. Not too bad. And next up, she is sending out Ariados. So again, she does not have one specific type that she is focused on. She is going to throw a variety of things at us. Sunlight remains strong. And we're going to see what we are able to do here. Wigglytuff is paralyzed. Very nice. It's pretty close to death anyways, so not too bad. Signal Beam is a little bit of a problem for Sage. It is a bug type move, and Sage is, of course, weak against bug types. We'll go and see what we can do here. Yeah, not really a lot to say about this fight. It is a little bit different from the ones we've seen before because, again, there isn't really one specific niche that this area leader uses in particular. She just has, you know, again, a variety of different types of Pokemon. They're just a little bit higher level than we've seen in this place already. So nothing too challenging here. We're just going to see if we can take out these Pokemon one by one and continue on with our challenge. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, yeah, I am very excited about the Ocarina of Time remake. Again, I really think there is high hopes for other remakes in the Zelda universe as well, kind of like Majora's Mask. You know, we've gotten the HD versions of Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, so it only makes sense that they were going to do. Actually, was not actually I will say I was not expecting Ocarina of Time getting another remake at all. I think the 3DS version I thought was fine, and I loved it. I thought it looked amazing. But you know, I'm not going to argue with another remake. So it's all good stuff, you know, in terms of my opinions. But I will say that getting back on the topic of the randomizers, I have again just been playing the one, but I have tried out a new setting where you essentially have to find each NPC's soul in the game as well, and it's all randomized. And so not only can you play the randomizer by you know, of course, obtaining and collecting the you know, various items and rewards out of sequence, but you can also have the ability to essentially, you know, make all the NPCs essentially disappear in the world. So each town will not have any NPCs until you collect their souls, and then that will essentially restore their souls, making them reappear within the world, which I think is amazing. It just goes to show how many things you can do with the randomizers, and they're very addicting. I've spent several hours playing this thing, and I'm invested. I will say I'm very invested, and again, very excited to try out some other randomizers. This is my very first one, but I'm very open to doing some other ones. Again, I think I'm just going to stick mostly with the Zelda ones, but yeah, I'm hooked on the one I'm playing. I mean, it's just kind of interesting to see, because you have like all these different, you know, towns, of course, and, you know, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, like Clock Town, for example, completely empty, you know, without all the NPC's souls. So you have to essentially find their souls, restore them, and kind of bring a little bit of life back to the world. So I don't know, just things like that are very exciting. Again, it kind of refreshes the games in a way where they essentially are reintroduced to your brain. You're initially, you know, your brain is still set on the vanilla way of how the games are, you know, operated, you know, the vanilla games and how they operate. So kind of switching it up and, you know, having a different sequence of how you find items, you know, finding different rewards out of order that unlock other rewards that are out of order. You know, like one thing I have struggled with is like, you know, certain songs, like warp songs and dungeon items that you would normally have like earlier on in the vanilla games. It's kind of hard to kind of play it without having those if you can't get them right away. So that's been kind of my main struggle with the randomizers, is just not being used to having like for example, like having like the hook shot at a certain point of the vanilla game, like not having that right off the bat. It is a little bit of a challenge sometimes, because your brain is just kind of used to you know, using it and having it at a certain point. And not being able to, like, you know, I'll start like a temple or like the forest temple or something in Ocarina of Time, and not be able to finish it out because I don't have like the bow and arrows or something like that. It's just fun. I don't know. It's like a little, I don't know. It's just on a whole new adventure that's just very exciting to me, and I'm just love it. I'm loving it. But that's gonna do it for the fight with Loco. You really are bursting with energy. We sure are. Enough to take your ass out, that's for sure. What a fun battle that was. Go get your Poke Coupons in the break room. We have cleared Area 6, and we are moving on to the next area. We've arrived in the next break room. We'll go ahead and pick up our coupons. And we get another 800. So again, those are increasing in value every time we clear an area. And hopefully by the end of this, we will have close to enough to be able to afford TM13. But it is now time to move on to Area 7. Huh. You think I'm just a kid? You're in for a lot of pain. Area 7, start. What an epic way to begin Area 7. So as you can see here, we are actually changing environments once again. We are climbing even higher within the mountain. And this time around, we are so high that we can actually see the clouds. Again, another nice little touch to this place that I really like and appreciate that they do is essentially, you know, changing your environment the further you progress within the mountain. So we are seeing a little bit of a different atmosphere, you know, being higher up in the air. Again, very cool touch, and just from a visual standpoint, it just looks awesome. But that essentially means that we are getting that much closer towards the end of this challenge. We only have 3 more areas after this one, so believe it or not, Mountain Battle is about to be wrapped up fairly soon, even though we're not going to be doing it all in this episode. Yeah, again, I just wanted to kind of return here now. I know it seems pretty damn soon to come right back here after we were just here right before the Shadow Lab. But one reason I mainly wanted to come back here was because I still feel like I'm a little bit underleveled, I'll be honest. Like, the fight with Ein kind of reminded me that there's still a lot of training to do, you know, before we take on really the end of the main story in the game. We have actually one more main area that we're going to be traveling to in this main story. So I wanted to kind of knock, you know, these next 2 challenges out now. That way we are a little bit more leveled up and kind of prepared for what's to coming up next, because yeah, man, we're getting kind of towards the end of things here. Like, things are kind of coming to a close, believe it or not. Again, we have just one new location left to explore in the game, and or in the main story. And without spoiling too much, there may or may not be some post-game stuff that we're going to have to tackle as well. But I don't want to spoil too much of that for those that have not played the game. But yeah, we are really nearing the end, at least for the main story, and we're kind of wrapping the story up for the most part. And I just wanted to make sure that I was leveled up enough and well prepared as much as I possibly could be for some of the challenges we have coming up, because we have a lot of other boss battles that are actually going to be coming up, probably the most we've ever seen in one setting, in this next area that we're going to be going to after we go back to the Under, talk to Nett, share the data ROM that we found in the Shadow Lab, and he's essentially going to use that to give us essentially an indicator of where we need to actually go next. So I have a lot of grinding I want to do before then, and this is going to be the first stop of a couple that I actually plan on doing before we do that. So yeah, unfortunately, anyone that's watching this series that are, you know, just kind of more intrigued in the actual main story, unfortunately we're not going to be really carrying on with it again for another couple episodes. I just felt it was important to kind of show me grinding up some more levels in this place, and just try to train up as much as we possibly can. That way we can, again, just be as much as prepared as we possibly can be. So but yeah, another thing I wanted to talk about was another new game I'm actually kind of excited for is the new Spyro game coming out next year as well. Spyro: A Realm Beyond. And the reason why this is a big deal to me is because I fell in love with these Spyro games. I fell in love recently with the original Spyro trilogy, at least the remake, because I did not have a chance, unfortunately, to play the original trilogy when I was younger. I didn't have a PlayStation back then, but fell in love with this remade trilogy, and really just kind of, it really has made me just kind of, you know, mainly just disappointed in the fact that I didn't have the opportunity to grow up with Spyro or Crash Bandicoot. Like, those are 2 trilogies I really have loved because I've been playing the remakes. And you know, we got the Crash 4 game back in 2020, so getting this 4th Spyro game, essentially that's what it is. It's essentially going to be like the lost 4th game in the original trilogy, because they're going to essentially design it to where it's going to play very similar to the original game. So you're going to have like even the charge move, you're going to have the flame breath attack. You know, there has been other Spyro games, of course, that were released on like the PS2. Those games I really did not enjoy a lot. I owned one of the games that was released on the PlayStation 2 after the original trilogy was released, but those were not quite as enjoyable, and I didn't really quite enjoy them as much as this remade trilogy that I've been playing the heck out of. So I'm very excited to see what A Realm Beyond really has in store. Because again, it does really sound like it's going to be very close to what we have gotten, you know, what we got in the original trilogy as far as the formula goes. Again, I do believe they are going to expand quite a bit on like the flight controls and the flight mechanics in the game. And again, we haven't really gotten much of a trailer or anything in terms of gameplay footage, but again, just based off of what we saw, it looks pretty cool. I'm excited for it, and I am just that more interested in the series. I am even more invested in the series than I ever have been. It's kind of like being a kid again, except experiencing this game and this trilogy for the first time. even though I never really had the chance to do that when it was first released. So very excited, but yeah, just wanted to kind of reiterate that. I actually have not had the opportunity to play Crash 4, believe it or not. I really want to though, but I haven't really gotten to. I have so many games on my backlog and my list of games that I have not gotten to yet. You know, like for example, I talked about, I think the last time I was here in Mount Battle, I talked about playing Pokemon Heart Gold for the first time ever, like, you know, 6 months ago or a few months ago. You know, so I am really behind on games. And like I said, I did actually stop playing games, you know, between, you know, a certain time period until just, you know, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. But there are actually 2 reasons why I have really high hopes and excitement for A Realm Beyond. One is because it was actually worked on by Toys for Bob, who again worked on the Reignited trilogy. And obviously they did one hell of a job with that, and so that just kind of makes my excitement even higher. As well as Tom Kenny is actually coming back to voice Spyro again in A Realm Beyond. So obviously he did a good job in the Reignited trilogy, and I'm excited to be able to hear his work again in A Realm Beyond. So very exciting stuff. But yeah, I have been behind on a lot of different games, mainly because just not a lot of time, you know, in the day to play a lot of different games that I am behind on. And you know, even the ones that I get to, like you know, when I played Heart Gold, it's a time consumption just playing the games that I'm, you know, playing now, let alone all the other games that I have to get to still. So it's just, you know, really time is the main thing kind of keeping me from getting through many of these games. But I am eventually going to get to most of them, if not all of them, at some point or another. It may take years at this point, but we will get there. So but yeah, that's really the main reason why I've been behind in so many games. And I'm hoping to hopefully change that and find some time to play some more games in the future. So, and I am still also behind on Pokemon games as well. Obviously on the topic of Pokemon, since we're playing that now, I am behind on several generations of Pokemon games. Pokemon Black and White also was another game that I actually just got into recently as well. That was actually the more recent one. So I played Heart Gold, and then I played Pokemon White for the first time, and was pretty exciting, I have to say. Again, that was around the time when I stopped gaming, was around the release of, you know, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Black and White. So playing White for the first time was a big jump into Generation 5. Having it kind of limited to just having Generation 5 Pokemon that were obtainable was kind of a new thing, and I think a lot of people, from what I've, you know, seen online, really weren't for it, but I kind of liked it. And I haven't played White 2 yet, or Black 2. I'm actually planning on playing White 2 when I'm able to, but a lot of people were against the idea of having, you know, being limited essentially to only being able to obtain Generation 5 Pokemon, and not having the selection of, you know, past generation Pokemon, because again, that kind of limits your pool of what kind of Pokemon you can assemble onto your team. But I kind of like the idea, and I think they were maybe, I don't know, I think it challenges the player a little bit more, because again, you have to be a little bit more selective instead of just having, like, you know, well, I'm going to use, you know, Generation 1, you know, these Generation 1 Pokemon or Generation 2 Pokemon. It kind of makes you have to strategize a little bit more with your team. And I played through Pokemon White very recently, and I think I put together a pretty damn good team, and I did pretty well for the most part. And yeah, I mean, overall I did enjoy it. And from what I've heard, the sequel, Black 2 and White 2, do actually change it to where you can actually catch any generation other than Generation 5. So there's actually other generations you can actually obtain. So I'm very excited to play those games as well, and kind of see what that's like and kind of how it differs, you know, compared to White 1 and Black 1. So yeah, very exciting stuff. But again, I have still a lot of games to play. Again, not only Pokemon, but Zelda. I have, you know, a lot of other 3D platformers I'm behind on, like Mario. There's a lot of games I still have to get to, and I'm very excited to do that once I, again, do have the time. So But yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on in my world in terms of things I've been trying to catch up on here. And other than that, just kind of boring life stuff. You know, just trying to get by day to day and all kinds of good stuff. But we're kind of nearing the end of the challenge here in Area 7, so this is pretty exciting. We are obviously leveling up quite a bit more. We're a lot more leveled up now to where I think I do feel pretty comfortable kind of moving forward. But again, I am actually going to still do some level grinding past Mount Battle. There's a couple of Colosseum challenges I am actually going to be taking on after this Area 7 challenge. So, and of course we still have the last 3 areas of Mount Battle that we will be getting to later on in the series. I just don't think it makes sense to do them now, because I do believe, because as you can see, we are facing off with trainers that are kind of approaching level 50 in terms of teams. So so as you can see, the level spike is still increasing, and from what I remember, so I think it just makes sense to maybe I think it actually makes sense to hold off on the final 3 areas until we are either close to the end of the main story or probably after the main story is when I'm going to tackle those. So we'll just kind of see, you know, just kind of how I feel and what I think is appropriate. But obviously I will still be coming back and finishing out Mount Battle, and we're going to go ahead and we are still going to work towards the Earth Ribbon. I am going to go ahead and show, I am going to obviously show me getting that as well. So I will have to actually, unfortunately for my case, have to reach, restart the challenges all the way from Area 1, because again, you have to win the challenges consecutively without actually leaving the area at Mount Battle, or changing out your team to actually earn the Earth Ribbon. So I will have to come back here later on, redo that all off screen, and then work my way back up. But that is it for the 9th trainer. It is now time to take on the 7th area leader. I'm 8th. I'm responsible for Area 7. You should be proud to have come so far. Show me how you battle. So this is the 7th area leader, 8th. He is going to start off with Mawile and Machoke. We are going to start off with Apollo and Sage. So as you can see right off the bat, Mawile with the ability Intimidate is going to lower our attack. So that is, like I mentioned before, having Intimidate is actually a pretty nice strategy if you have a Pokemon with that ability, because again, right off the bat, you can lower your opponent's attack power. Making it slightly easier, I guess, if you are, trying to get a little bit of a quick advantage on the foe. Having that can be kind of useful for doing that. As you can see, we actually took out his Machoke pretty fast with Psybeam. Obviously, fighting types are weak against Psychic, so I went ahead and made sure to go ahead and do that right off the bat. He also has a Quagsire, believe it or not, so it looks like we are going to have to actually face off with a member that we have in our team. I always find it funny when that happens. It makes me kind of makes me feel a little bit bittersweet, because even though we do have to defeat this challenge and this battle, unfortunately it kind of feels like we are attacking our own members of our own team. So we're gonna go ahead and hit Quagsire with a Razor Leaf, with it being water and ground, so that'll take it out pretty fast. As you can see, most of his Pokemon are going to be pretty close to level 50. Apollo gets a level up. Very nice. It is doing a lot better in levels at this point, and he is now going to send out Dusclops. So as you can see, he has, again, a pretty wide variety of Pokemon types. I think, and I can't remember for sure, but this might be the point where we have pretty much, have pretty much already seen the trainers that kind of just specialize in one specific type. They're going to mainly just be focused on higher levels than actual Pokemon type from here on out, from what I remember. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case for the rest of this, the rest of the challenges here in Mount Battle, for the area leaders at least. Go and throw up a light screen. I have a feeling we're going to need that in case this Dusclops tries to throw something nasty at us. That was actually perfect timing because Crunch is actually considered a special move in this game. That'll minimize some damage, even though Apollo unfortunately was unable to survive. Time to throw out Scorch, give it a little bit more exposure. It is still a little bit under level compared to some of the other members on our team. Shadow Punch is a little bit nasty. We have the light screen up now, so that'll minimize quite a bit of damage. Go ahead and hit him with another Razor Leaf. I'm not really sure what else we can do with Sage at this point, because really Body Slam is not going to be effective against either of these two, with Mawile being a Steel type, Dusclops being a Ghost type. That's really not going to be all that effective. I think Razor Leaf is probably our best bet with Sage. We are going to use Flamethrower with Scorch. See what that can do. Obviously with Mawile being Steel type, that is very super effective against it. Go ahead and take out Mawile, and we are actually making pretty fine work of his team. Again, with the right strategies and the right attacks, you can see that you can actually, take out even Pokemon that are like 5 levels higher than your team in this fight. So looks like he has sent out yet again another member that we have on our team, and it is Altaria. So unfortunately we don't have anything that is actually that effective other than maybe Thunderbolt, with Altaria being part flying type, but it is also part dragon, obviously, since we have been using Altaria in our team. We kind of know that. Looks like it is using Dragon Dance, the same type of strategy we've used with ours. I think the best bet I have here with Sage is try to use a few Body Slams, see if we can maybe get it paralyzed, try to slow it down a little bit. Because once it gets off some attacks after that Dragon Dance is done, it can be pretty nasty. Looks like that light screen is still coming into full effect here, minimizing all this damage being done. And there's a Peck Attack. That's going to be kind of annoying for Sage, knowing that it is super effective with it being a flying type move. I don't think we've actually seen a lot of flying type moves in this game, to be honest. I think Peck's that's the first time we've seen Peck, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Go and finish off Dusclops. Not too bad. Sage is very close to a level. Scorch is not too far away from one. And looks like we have it singled down. Looks like we have his team singled down to just Altaria. We're going to get off a Yawn on it. See if we can put it to sleep and end this battle very nicely. Yeah, looks like this battle's actually going even better than the last one, believe it or not. I was actually kind of worried about this guy because he is, again, a little bit higher level. But looks like we had the right answer for this challenge, so we're going to get off Rock Throw. Scorch will actually learn Rock Slide coming up fairly soon, so I'm hoping we can get to that point very soon, because Rock Throw is actually a pretty weak move, especially for this point in the game. I'm hoping to kind of get rid of that once Scorch does actually learn Rock Slide, which again is a much better move than Rock Throw. Looks like Altaria has finally been put asleep, so we're going to go ahead and finish it off here the best we can, little by little. I know we're not going to be able to do a lot of damage with Body Slam. Rock Throw is super effective against it, with it being part flying, so that's probably going to be our best bet in taking it out quickly. And that didn't last long. Very nice. It woke right up. I think it's going to do it for Sage. Nope, it's going to hang on. Very nice. Sage is a trooper. And this should do it. Very nice. Altaria goes down. Tons of experience for Sage. He gets another level. And more experience for Scorch as well. Not too bad. That is most impressive. You really are impressive. Have you considered becoming a Mount Battle trainer? Not really, but wouldn't hurt, I guess. Don't forget to collect your Poke Coupons in the break room. So with that, we have cleared Area 7. And we have finished the fight with trainer number 70. We'll go and collect our Poke Coupons. And it looks like we get another 900. So we are just soaring with Poke Coupons. Just bathing in them at this point. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and stop the challenge here. Like I said, I'm just gonna we're just planning on doing these next 2 challenges. We are gonna save the final 3 areas for later on in the game. Of course, Abra can teleport us back to the main office, registration office, where we can, of course, resume our challenge later on once we return. So as you can see, everybody's leveled up a lot more now. We're looking a lot better than we did before we even came back here. And crap, so we are just 200 points short. That sucks. Gosh, that's a shame. I was hoping I would have enough. So unfortunately, we are not able to buy it quite yet. It looks like we are going to have to still hold off on doing that. I might actually grind a few more points off screen just to be able to afford that TM, because I think that's going to be very necessary coming up for the next area of the game. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for joining me on this continuation of Mount Battle. Next time on Pokemon Colosseum, we are going to continue grinding out some levels before taking on the final location in the game. So until then, I will see you later.